Welcome to another program of Your Questions Answered with Father Gruner. I'm John Veneri. Here we take your questions and Father Gruner answers them. We have discussions about them. Please continue to send us your questions via email. You can see it at the bottom of the screen, questions@thefatimacenter.com. We've been talking about the brown scapular, and Father Gruner gave us a history of the brown scapular going back to the prophet Elias. And now we're going to make the connection from the prophet Elias to Our Lady.
Well, first we have to make a connection between Elias and the mantle. Okay, so when Elias, when he was taken up to heaven in the fiery chariot, you'll read in the Old Testament that Eliseus, his succeeding prophet, asked for his prophetic spirit. And Elias said, well, if I leave behind my mantle, know that you've received my prophetic spirit. So it's in sacred scripture, when the fiery chariot took him up to heaven, Elias left behind his mantle, and Eliseus picked it up and put it on. And Eliseus had the prophetic spirit after that. So now, another passage in the Old Testament is when Elias wanted to cross the river Jordan, he didn't want to get his feet wet. So he took his mantle off, touched the river, and the river stopped flowing, and he walked across without getting his feet wet. So Elias, the mantle is something that Elias, I think he used it for cures as well, but I can't remember those stories as well. But the point is that it's a sign of his authority, and so it was. Shall we say? Elias and his mantle can't be separated, so to speak. So so Our Lady appeared at Fatima with the scapular, and that's why it has to do with the message of Fatima. But before we get there, the Carmelite order that he founded, the hermits, they succeeded generation to generation. And even at Pentecost, they're among the first ones baptized by the apostles. They went back to their Mount Carmel, shall we say, place of hermitage. But in the 1240 A.D., there about 1240, 1242, something like that, it was too difficult for them to hold on to their ways among all the pillaging and going on during the Crusades or around the time. So they moved the headquarters from the Holy Land to England, to Aylesford. And it was they were having many difficulties, these Carmelite monks, adjusting to their new location, and there was also changing more from being a hermit order to a mendicant order, and something like the Franciscans or the Dominicans. So in 1251, Our Lady, in answer to St. Simon Stock, he's the new founder, you might say, in the spirit of Elias, but in England, Our Lady appeared to him and held out the scapular to him and said, receive the scapular. It shall be a sign of salvation, a protection in danger, and a pledge of peace. Whosoever dies wearing the scapular shall not suffer eternal fire. So it's quite a promise that
it's a remarkable promise.
If you die wearing it, Our Lady promises, if you're in the state of grace, she'll see that you don't fall away from grace. If you're in a state of sin, she'll get you a priest to come and hear your confession, or give you the grace to make actually perfect confession. So that's why I don't know when I'm going to die. None of us does. I've been wearing mine in 40 years in anticipation of that hour. But besides that, it's also a promise for this life. It says it should be a sign of salvation, a protection in danger. A protection in danger. I mean, we have booklets. I'd be happy to. People want to write to us for them. Or maybe it's up on
What's the name of the booklet again?
It's Sign of Salvation, I think it's called.
That's the name, the one that you publish.
Yeah, we publish, yes.
Yes, you can get that from the Fatima Center, the Fatima book, the brown scapular, the Sign of Salvation. You can order it.
It's a cloth. I forgot the title. I should remember that too. But my point is that in there you got 100. You have there's hundreds of miracles of people being preserved. You have a priest being shot, with but he put a scapular on. He had a scapular on just before he went to mass. He was late because he forgot his scapular, so he put it on underneath. And when he was shot, the people stopped him after one bullet, but they thought the guy missed. But after mass, they took him when his vestments came off. There was a hole in his vestments. And flattened against the scapular was the bullet, and he was not injured. I mean, I've been a man in Milwaukee,
Baltimore, I think it was.
In Baltimore, yes, he was also when he was driving his vehicle down the highway, a rock came in and hit him in his pocket, knocked his glasses out of his pocket. He said, I don't need them anyway. Left them on the chair beside him, kept driving. When he got home, he went to put his glasses, put them back in. He couldn't put it in. Oh, he says, it must be the rock is there. He went in to pull out the rock. It was a bullet.
Yes, I remember I was there when the man told that story. Yeah. And that's the wonderful thing too about the sacramentals of the church is they're not we're made of body and soul. We're composed of body and soul. And they not only take care of our spiritual end, but oftentimes there are stories like this where we are physically protected.
Absolutely. Right? Well, as I say, there's hundreds of stories like that. A number of them recounted in our little booklet. I'm happy to send them to you. And they may be on our website. I'm sure if we can find that, we'll put that up there as well. Anyway, the scapular. So Our Lady came in 1251, gave this marvelous promise. And on that same very day that she gave the promise, St. Thomas Dock was called to the bedside of a man who was dying. And he didn't want to see a priest. Well, he persuaded him to be able to put on a scapular on us immediately. He was going to go to confession. So there are many, many stories.
Well, I know, too. We have to wrap this up pretty soon. But I remember Father No, who worked very closely with you, he always said about a non-Catholic, if I can get the scapular on him,
yes,
there will be a conversion.
Yes.
And I remember, too, there was a priest who, my own father-in-law,
yes,
he had been 86 years old, a lifelong Presbyterian. He was well disposed towards the church. He was dying of cancer. And the priest that went to see him, just before he left, he put the scapular on him. And my father-in-law died a Catholic.
yes,
2 weeks, he converted into the faith 2 weeks before he died.
yes, very good. Obviously, there's great graces. So what I think people wanted, I don't know how much time we have. Otherwise,
We have to wrap it up and go into the next one.
Well, I'd like to talk about this, maybe talk about this one more time.
Sure.
And,
Okay. Well, we'll wrap this up. And because when it comes to the scapular, believe me, there is a lot to talk about. It has a rich history, tremendous amount of miracles and graces that go with it. And we'll pick it up on the next program.